Electric vehicles, or EVs, have long been hailed as the future of transportation, promising a cleaner, greener way to get around. But are these shiny new cars running into trouble? Have you noticed how sales of EVs seem to be slowing down lately? Why are some people still hesitant to make the switch despite all the hype? And what's going on with the cost of owning and running an EV? Are they really as affordable as we were led to believe? With so many new electric cars hitting the market, is there such a thing as too many? And why are even the biggest car companies rethinking their EV plans? Well, to know all about this, you have to stay tuned until the end. The EV market burst onto the scene with a lot of excitement and growth. In the early days, it seemed like everyone was eager to jump on board the EV bandwagon. Between 2018 and 2020, global sales of electric cars nearly doubled, reaching around 3.1 million units in 2020, according to the International Energy Agency. This rapid rise was fueled by automakers and governments pushing the benefits of cleaner, greener transportation. However, recent trends show that this growth might be hitting a rough patch. Take China, for instance, the largest EV market in the world. Demand for electric vehicles there has started to slow down. Back in 2021, the growth rate of EV sales in China dropped to just 0.4%. This is a huge drop from the 100% growth rate seen in 2020. The slowdown is concerning, especially because China plays such a big role in the global EV industry. Companies like Tesla invested heavily in the Chinese market, hoping it would keep expanding. Yet, by late 2023, Tesla's deliveries in China had plateaued. Growth rates fell below 10% year over year, compared to around 40% in earlier years. So, why the sudden slowdown? First, the initial buzz about electric vehicles seems to be fading. Early adopters, those who are keen on new technology, have already made their purchases. As the excitement wears off, the general public isn't as eager to buy EVs. Additionally, the high cost of EVs remains a major hurdle. Despite improvements in battery technology, the average price of a new electric car is still about $54,000 in the United States. This is significantly higher than the average price of a gasoline car, which is around $36,000. This high price tag is a big issue for many people. Even though EVs promise lower running costs like cheaper fuel, the upfront expense is hard to ignore. Many consumers are finding it tough to justify paying so much more for an electric car when they can get a gasoline vehicle for less. The excitement that once drove rapid EV adoption is now tempered by practical concerns, making the road ahead for electric vehicles a bit more uncertain. One major issue holding back the EV market is customer hesitation. Even though people are more aware of EVs and there's growing interest, many still have doubts about making the switch. A 2023 survey by Consumer Reports found that about 60% of people had concerns about electric cars. They specifically mentioned high cost and worries about how far the car can travel on a single charge as big reasons for their reluctance. One big concern is range anxiety, which is the fear of running out of battery power while driving. Although improvements in technology have allowed many EVs to travel over 300 miles on a single charge, some drivers are still uneasy. For example, the Tesla Model S long range can go about 405 miles before needing a charge. Despite this, many people worry about long trips and the availability of fast charging stations along their route. The current state of charging infrastructure also adds to the problem. While the number of public charging stations is increasing, they are still not as common or as easy to find as a gas station. In the U.S., there are around 60,000 public EV chargers, but there are more than 150,000 gas stations. This means that finding a place to charge your EV can be less convenient than filling up a traditional gas car. Additionally, the quality and speed of charging stations can vary. Some chargers are much slower than others, which can make the charging process more time-consuming and frustrating. These issues combine to make many potential buyers think twice about going electric. If finding a place to charge is difficult, or if the car might run out of battery on a long drive, some people prefer to stick with traditional gasoline vehicles. Even though EVs are becoming more popular and more advanced, these practical concerns continue to impact how many people are ready to fully commit to electric cars. One of the big selling points of EVs was supposed to be their lower running costs compared to traditional gasoline cars, but in reality, this hasn't always turned out to be the case. Initially, it was thought that charging an EV would be cheaper than filling up a gas tank. However, rising electricity prices are making this less true. In recent years, the cost of electricity has been going up. For example, in 2023, the average price for electricity in the U.S. reached about 14.3 cents per kilowatt hour, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Charging an EV at home usually costs between 10 to 20 cents per mile, depending on how efficient the car is and local electricity rates. But this can be even more expensive at public charging stations, where some providers charge extra for the convenience. Because of these costs, sometimes charging an EV can actually end up being more expensive than buying gasoline for a traditional car. On top of this, the cost of maintaining and repairing EVs can also be quite high. While it's true that EVs have fewer moving parts than traditional cars, they still come with significant costs. One major expense is the battery, which is crucial for an EV's operation. Replacing a battery can be quite pricey, ranging anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, depending on the model and the size of the battery. In addition to this, specialized repairs and parts, like those needed for electric drivetrains, can also be more costly. This is because these components often require specially trained technicians and parts that aren't as widely available. Overall, while EVs were initially thought to offer lower running costs, rising electricity prices and the high cost of maintenance and repairs have made it less clear if they're always the cheaper option. This can be a major concern for potential buyers who are considering the financial aspects of switching from a gasoline car to an electric one. China, the leading producer of EVs, is grappling with a serious problem of oversupply. The country invested heavily in building EV production facilities, anticipating a strong domestic market for these vehicles, but the actual demand hasn't kept up with these expectations. In 2022, China manufactured around 7.5 million EVs. Despite this massive production, the domestic market couldn't absorb all these vehicles. The oversupply has resulted in a significant number of unsold cars, leading to a surplus in the market. To deal with this, manufacturers have started engaging in price wars to attract buyers. According to a report from the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers, the average price of a new EV in China dropped by roughly 15% in 2023 due to heavy discounting. While lower prices might seem like a good deal for consumers, they actually hurt the manufacturer's profit margins and cause financial difficulties for these companies. So what do you think about this? Do let us know in the comments section below, and for more such amazing videos, do subscribe to our channel.